Hey everybody, welcome into the Red Earth Production Studios for another edition of YBMcast. We've got some perspective today with Mitch Thomas, our resident coach, right? High school coach. Just finished your first year as the freshman coach at Timberland High School. And I want to say on air, because we haven't done this together, congratulations. Your freshman team took second in the GAC tournament.
Yeah, lost to Holt. Lost to a good team. Lost to a really good pitcher.
Did you really?
Mr. Edgar's going to do some good things for the area in the next few years for sure.
Very good. Yeah, I wasn't able to get out to the champion. I saw your semifinal, which was a great game. You guys scratched out a win there. Got a couple runs late in that game.
Yeah.
In the semifinal, got to the championship. Kids played hard, didn't they?
They did. It was an interesting start of the season. The process took a little longer than I had thought. We started 3-7, ended 8-4. We won our freshman tournament that we hosted Timberland, and then we were obviously able to take an opportunity to get to that championship game against Holt. We were the only 2-0 team in the GAC freshman tournament at the end of the season. We played at Holt because they were a higher seed than us. We were actually a 5 out of 6 seeds. We were a 5th seed. So obviously the beginning of the season didn't help us, but we had beat Holt. We had beat West, and those are two games that we would wanted to have revenge games against, and we were able to do that. So hats off to those athletes on the Timberland freshman team to everybody thinks, wow, they shocked everybody. It's like, no, they were good this whole entire time. They just didn't understand how to win and how to get things done. So those boys worked hard for me.
There you go. And I think that's the challenge for you as a coach. You've got a whole crop of freshmen coming in next year, right?
Good ones. I'm now I've started to pay a little bit more attention to what's outside, and like my 7th and 8th graders that are out there. I'm like, if they're following us on Twitter, and so I'm starting to see these kids in all these different organizations, and I'm like, man, that's the freshman class coming in. It's only getting tougher, and you're starting to see it just in the area, and again, St. Charles County specifically, west of Highway and K out here. It seems like the talent is just continuing to get better and growing. So it's exciting times right now.
I agree. I think the development process that has come in and, we can have that conversation another time about, club teams and this and that. But regardless of what people will say or your opinion into those certain things, the development of players has gotten better because the winter workouts, the ability to train indoors, because we can't play,
not in this state.
We can't play 7 months out of the year, right? Or 9 months or 12 months out of the year.
Yeah, you might be right on the 9-month part. I mean, obviously winters are a little different, but you have rain and stuff like that. So
sure,
at the end of the day, it's the winter training is definitely more advanced, and it's information's good and bad.
Sure.
And the information that's been given to us, we can really work with our athletes and the things that's just available. Technology has given us so much to help prepare these athletes for opportunities, for sure.
And I think it's really given rise, and I think there are, as you said, and I agree in that respect, I believe it's really what has made baseball in this area come to that next level. And I think there's a lot of tremendous athletes, very good baseball players, and you're seeing it within the state. So much GAC, and we're going to talk a little bit about that real quick, and then we're going to talk about some other stuff. But we're going to have some fun here.
Yeah, the GAC stuff gets me all riled up. I absolutely love this talk, so I love it.
I was out at St. Charles West. Coach Nuru Allen, congratulations to the St. Charles West baseball team. Ray Rico pitched a great game yesterday. Their reward, though, is Blair Oaks, which, but if you're going to win a state title, that's the way it works. It's the way it should be. You got to go beat the best.
You do,
right?
You do. I think Nuru's gonna. I got a chance to play with Nuru for a few years, playing adult baseball. Everybody's after college, and I got to experience his passion for the sport. I knew for a long time he had been a teacher over there, and I think he coached football and was a JV freshman coach.
Yeah.
And I want to say he's been in the game for 10 plus years, and he is just now becoming a head coach. And you're starting to see what he's trying to build over there. And I don't know if it's necessarily about the talent that he has. I think it's about the mental makeup inside the dugout, what it takes to compete, how to compete, and the team first mentality. And that's what he was about playing with when I got a chance to play with him. That's what he talked about growing up, his experiences in college and everything. And so I think that's what he's taking over there at St. Charles, and they bought in. It seems really fun to watch Nuru and his group.
Well, let's make that parallel, and I think that's a great point of what you're saying. It's interesting. I always make this analogy. Okay, in professional sports, you have the cream of the crop as far as talent. How come everybody isn't winning 80 games or 90 games or 100 games, or in football going 15-1? Because it does take a coach, a manager, and that ability to bring all that talent together, to get that talent out of that person. One person may have more talent than another, and this person here, but how do you get them all to mesh? How do you get them all to work together? How do you get them all to see the same goal moving forward? And I think that's the challenge at any level of sport.
Absolutely. And it's interesting to see because, I'm 40 years old, and, you see a little bit younger coaches are having a tougher time to get the buy-in. But the older group of guys, the close to retirement type, they're able to find a way to take the talent that they have and play above expectations. Sure. Things like that, where sometimes you have a group of kids that are really talented and you can't figure out why we can't win a ball game, or why we can't execute or learn to win, or want the desire to win. I think it's just different. I just think how we were raised to play ball is very different than even the 25, the 26, the kids fresh out of college, getting the lucky opportunity to coach high school sports.
Sure.
Even though they might have played in college, I don't know that they understood or understand. Right. It's just different. It's just a different feel talking to a guy that's 40, 45 years old than it is to talking to somebody that's 25 to 30.
Yeah.
Just their upbringing in the sport. It's very interesting.
So we've got so that's our GAC in the Class 4. Congrats to Coach Allen getting into that Elite 8. And that group will be pulling for you tomorrow. They're going to be out. They got to travel to Jeff City to play Blair Oaks. But good luck, guys.
They get out of school. They'll be all right. They get out of school early.
So let's look at. I'm going to pull you into this. I know you're like, oh man, but we still have a little GAC stuff here in the Class 5. We've got you got Fort Zumwalt South left as far as GAC is concerned. Being an East guy, I don't know, man. That's tough. Glendale's playing Willard. You got Smithville playing Grain Valley, which when we've talked with Kevin Mulder with PBR Missouri, he's seen both. I think he's very aware of both those teams, Smithville, Grain Valley. That could be the top game of the quarterfinals. You got Parkway Central and Zumwalt South, and then you got Rockwood Summit and Festus in the final 8 there in Class 5. So I think it's going to be really good. I'm looking forward to that. Willard, we got some folks, the Midwest Mavericks, Lance Kettering, we will have him on tomorrow's show. He's with the Springfield Sports Commission. His son is the starting shortstop at Glendale.
Okay.
And they just beat Webb City, which was a big upset.
Yeah.
In that district final. So I think there's a lot of great storylines here. There's a lot of great baseball. It's a lot of fun.
I'm interested in that Grain Valley matchup with Smithville. I spent time up in that area when I went to Missouri Western, and so I was up in that Kansas City area. And they had always been competitive then. Smithville, not so much, but Grain Valley always seemed to be there. And they would go challenge themselves with the large schools, the Blue Springs, South, North, Liberties up there, and go compete very well. And we had some private schools in St. Joe, Missouri, where Missouri Western's at, that were pretty good. And they would do some work up there. And so that's going to be an interesting matchup, obviously pretty competitive. Fort Zumwalt South, on the other hand, I think the way that they've been playing baseball as of late, they're hot. And that's the one thing that you can be afraid of when you get into the postseason is if you got that hot team, they could make a really good run.
And they've got some good arms, and they got some kids. Every time I've seen South play, they swing the bat well. They do. They swing the bat well. They put the ball in play. They put pressure on the defense to make plays. So if you're in that situation, I think that gives you an opportunity to win ball games.
Yeah, and that coach over there is going to have them ready to go.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
Yeah.
They have a history of being competitive in this area for many years. So it's exciting for South.
Absolutely. So that's a good look there. And then the big one.
The big one.
Class 6. We'll save the one.
We'll save the one.
You got over in Kansas City, Raymore Peculiar came out of that against Liberty, which I think Liberty is. But as we've talked over the last few weeks with PBR's Missouri's Kevin Mulder, Raymore Peculiar has a couple arms. We'll see, but I think Liberty's going to come out of that. I do. Then you got Republic playing Jefferson City. We were talking about before we come on the show. They're playing Jeff City, and Jeff City's pretty good, man.
So obviously now that our season's over at Timberland, I started looking at some of these teams, and I'm pulling them up on Misha's website, and then I start to Google these teams, and I'm looking them up, and I'm thinking, man, these teams are good. Everybody that is in this Elite Eight here for the Class 6 has dudes. They just have guys up and down, deep lineups. They have guys that can come off a bench if they need a pinch hit situation. They're fast. They can run. What's interesting about maybe that Liberty matchup with Ray Peck is that as deep as Ray is, how quick is that coach going to pull triggers if a kid, because they have a couple pitching, and the way that this is set up for Class 6 versus the other classes, they should have plenty of rest.
Right.
And so they're going to have rest after too, before their next games. And so you just, are guys going 2 and 3 innings or 2 innings, it's going to be an interesting matchup for all these groups just because of how Class 6 is, districts to the quarterfinals because they missed sectionals in Class 6 this year.
Which I'm okay with. I really am. I like this setup because I think it gives you personally a better opportunity to see the best.
That I can't disagree with. Absolutely, it's interesting because this used to be when I at WashU when I was coaching there. This used to be our regionals. Our regionals had 8 teams. Then they went to the setup with the regionals, the supers, and then obviously the College World Series. It's a very similar feel to how it used to be. 8 teams are in your district,
right? And
you have to come out of that. But it's one less win too on the year. So I think it does give a team like a Republic a chance.
Right.
It gives a team like Ray Peck a chance to go out and even compete at the quarterfinal game and then in the state tournament.
Absolutely.
So it's gonna. I think it's exciting. I think it does create the buzz, like you said. You have to beat the best.
Absolutely. Let's talk about the 2 here. We got 2 really good ones in the St. Louis area. CBC's playing Lindbergh, and then it's just going to be. I'm going to be there. I'm going to go watch Francis Howe and Fort Zumwalt West.
I think. What is there between the 4 teams? There's something like 120 wins or something. That's not 120, but it's like 105 or something that they have. I think.
Well, look at this. You got CBC's 22-10, Lindbergh's 25-8, Francis Howe is 29-8, and Zumwalt West is 33-4.
It's hard not to. It's hard not to wonder what that game's going to be like. And if you are going to get a chance to get out, and you have to buy tickets online. You cannot go to the gate and buy tickets. You have to purchase your tickets online. So for anybody that's watching, you cannot go to the gate and get tickets. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I'll share that with you today.
We'll have it up on the link.
But you have to buy your tickets actually from Misha's website. in order to get into those games if you don't have the credentials to get in. And
I have my press pass.
I got coach's pass. But it's going to be awesome. They're both well rested. They have kids that are playing high level baseball beyond. I was talking to a kid last night at Fort Zumwalt West, and they're all prepared, ready to go. I talked to a coach over at Howell. They're preparing and competing because I asked the question of what it's going to be like with the week off.
Yeah.
When's the last time this team hasn't played multiple games in a week? And so they're trying to recreate this stuff at practice and the energy and the game-like speed so they don't lose out on the mentality.
And you go from 0 to 120.
Oh man, it's going to be exciting. The stands are full. It's going to be loud. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be packed over. And the game's at Howell.
Yeah.
So even though that West is the higher seed, it's at Howell because of the odd number years.
Right.
The way that the conference sits. So this is. I'm most excited for that, and I'll be completely honest in saying my pick to win state comes out of that game.
And the National Collegiate Baseball publication has Zumwalt West number 21 in the nation in high school rankings right now.
That's always interesting how they rank teams. I mean, I know that their records.
They're the only
very
one
good.
I saw in Missouri in there. I mean, everything else was California, Texas, Florida, Georgia, and all that kind of stuff. But they're right up there. Zumwalt West is a really good baseball team. Francis Howell is a really good baseball team. CBC is a really good baseball team. Lindbergh's a really good baseball team. Liberty, a really good. Republic, Jeff City, Raymore. This is a great Elite Eight.
Big time, and all very well coached.
Yes.
They up and down, man. It's exciting. I can't wait.
I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be fun. You got a pick?
I think West's going to win. I think it's going to be a close ball game. I think it's going to be a mistake that gives West an extra opportunity and to come up with a big hit, and they're going to win by 3.
Okay. All right.
I'm going that deep.
Yeah.
I think it's going to come down to a defensive play in that game that's going to open up that floodgate, if you will.
Well, I've been on Lindbergh's bandwagon since the start of the play of districts. I'm going to stick with Lindbergh coming there, and we'll then the other two I'm not quite sure of. I haven't seen them, so I'm not going to say anything. But and I'm just going to enjoy Francis Howell Zumwalt West.
Yeah, if I have to pick a Final Four, and I'll go out of that, I will go Lindbergh, Liberty, Jeff City, and West.
That's a good Final Four.
That's a phenomenal Final Four.
That's really
And if
good.
you get a chance to get down there and see those, there's going to be the same thing. And I know
That's
you
right.
get a chance to go down
we're
there.
We're going to get down there on that Friday and see the Final Four. We'll be down there broadcasting, doing some highlights. It'll be fun. We're looking forward to it. We got
and it's a nice complex. It's the new one, correct?
Yeah, it's the U.S. ballpark down in Ozark where Marucci Midwest, they have all their facility and whatnot. It's really nice.
Yeah,
it's
I have
really
yet
nice
to see it in person.
And like I said, if you missed yesterday's show with Lance, or actually no, it's tomorrow. My brain. We're going to have Lance Kettering from the Springfield Sports Commission on before, and we're talking to him about what's going on down there, and so it's great. We're looking forward to it. Let's finish up today. Let's get a little perspective. We had to do our baseball.
Had to. I love it.
I wanted to ask you, you've gone through your first freshman season, whatnot. How's that shaped your view of youth sports and what you've seen coming up? And how is that? How is that? You've got your facility over there. The tribe, and you've got multiple groups working in the hitting zone over there. What are you seeing now?
I think it comes back to just trying to decompress from the season, I guess. The information that I have now available to me, I think goes back to some of the conversations we've had early on. Mm-hmm. I think about roster sizes now, and it all is about how to compete. And I feel that the training is always there, right? The kids always want to be there, but what is going to get these kids prepared for high school baseball? And so I have to sit back and as I take a look on my season and see the difference between the beginning and the end of that season. Where could I have those kids ready to go as a club ball coach?
Sure.
As soon as they walk in, because everything that we do, we try to gear it towards your training and your throwing, so that you walk right into high school tryouts ready to go. Your arms in shape so that you can throw in front of your coach, so that you can press them the best way. But are we talking about some of the biggest pieces, which is the mental side?
Yeah.
Which I think that, for me, in my experience with my group this year, was when I mentally got them prepared, that's when our season took off. We didn't know how to win. We wanted to win, but we didn't know how to win. We would go out and lose ball games instead of close those games down. What mentally could have done better early or in practice? Or what could I do with my younger teams, my 14 and 15-year-old group, or 13 and 14-year-old groups, preparing them? So I go back to thinking about the mental side of the game, how to prep them, and that's what I'm trying to build now for our next year's group, is building how to compete. Is my biggest motivation right now, because I want that to happen as soon as they step foot on the high school campus.
So we're talking here, and I think this is a great perspective. When we talk about perspective, we're talking about the 12U, 13, 14U coaches. Some are dads, some are guys that are being paid by organizations, and are they having maybe the conversation? Are they getting in touch? Where are these kids going to be going to school? Are they talking to, is there a way that these high school coaches, do they even know who the freshman coach is? How are those conversations helping? Are we having those conversations within the club that says, what is the best way to prepare these kids? Do we know who the coaches are? Can we have that conversation? How do we build that?
Yeah, that's good information to talk about. What some of our coaches at our younger age groups in the 13U level have some sort of ties to high school coaches.
Right.
One of our coaches, a high school over at West, a JV coach over there. So he's preparing those kids a little bit for that next level. Next
Sure.
year they'll be eighth graders, but it won't be long they'll hit that high school high school team. So I think expressing to the kids to get to know your coaching staff or where you're going to high school and get to know them by going to their camps. So that's kind of what we started to discuss is, hey, let's get these kids over to, if you're a Timberland kid, go to Timberland's camp, or it's a GAC camp, or, now that we're opening back up in the community and high schools are allowed to have these camps again,
Right.
You need to get out to the camp that your high school is going to host. And that's been a big deal in trying to express to the young dudes is to get out there.
And I'm hoping Coach Donohue's able to have the GAC freshman camp that he normally does. That's always a big one. A lot of coaches, a lot of players. And not only do you get to meet the varsity coach.
The varsity coach, and that's ultimately who you're trying to impress, whether it's a freshman coming in or a few years down the road. I mean, we talked about obviously the depth of these teams and how good these teams are in the GACs. There's a lot of upperclassmen. It's not you don't have 5 or 6 freshmen filling in to fill a roster out. It is made up of juniors and seniors, and all of these teams that are in there have that available to them. It's like that at Timberland. We have a heavy junior class and maybe 3 sophomores on that team. That's it.
Yeah.
Freshman was freshman baseball. It's 9th graders. We don't have any juniors or any sophomores and, no C team stuff. It's all freshmen. JV was all sophomores. Varsity had this JV, a few, but even some of the kids that's coming in next year, they're going to be playing freshman baseball. They might be upset because they think they should be doing something else, but
we've had this conversation off air, and we'll have it as we move forward, as we talk about more things. But when you're as a player, as we're talking to players here at this point, okay, let's say this: when you're going to that GAC freshman camp, when you're going to the school summer camp, what's your mindset? The body follows the mind. What is your mindset? Are you going there for a purpose? Are you going there just to hang out with the dudes? Are you going there to execute and play baseball? What have you learned? What do you bring into that camp?
Yeah, that's the mindset that I'm trying to work on now to get them prepared. Is what exactly are you doing when you go there? For me, if it was my, I'm in my own shoes here. I'm walking in there and trying to show out. I really want to show my skills. I want to be fun, energetic, up front in front of everybody. But I also don't want to be that annoying kid, right? I don't want to have an answer for everything. I don't want to blurt out without being called upon. But I want to try to do everything as 100% as I can. And I want it. That's what I want my kids to do. That's what I'm telling my kids to do when they go experience these camps or anything that they're doing, whether they're seniors in high school or 8th graders, and you're trying to go to a college or somebody to prep for. Show your skill set.
Pay attention to what the coaches are saying, right?
Absolutely.
Be attentive to what's being said. Remember what they're saying. Think about what they're saying, because that's who they are as people. That's who they are as coaches. They're talking to you about their program, what they do, how they coach, how they move things through. Pay attention. And so when you walk in, your freshman year, you have an understanding of the expectation level that there is for you as a baseball player.
It's given to you at those camps. I mean, it is every varsity coach in the GACs are there, and they're telling you exactly what you want. Some kid will ask, what are you looking for when you have these incoming kids or hosting tryouts, and they give you an answer.
Yeah.
If they're going to give you the information, like you said, you need to take it and do whatever you can. Especially like at Timberland, we're a team first mentality, and we're trying to get to that. And you have to embrace that. And if you don't, you might not make it.
And understand, so as you're going through this, understand when you're going to some of these GAC schools, especially the Class 6 schools, there's a lot of kids trying out. Do you really want to make it? Do you really want to make it? Because you had cuts this year, right?
Oh yeah, I bet we cut 50 kids this year between all 3 levels.
That's a lot of kids.
We have 22 varsity, 16 JV, 18 kids on the freshman team. We had 33, I think at the freshman level, like 30 something at the JV level total. And we must have had 30, close to 100 kids at all, combined all 3 tryouts. Again, a lot of kids got cut who are very talented, and it's like that everywhere. I mean, there's kids at West who've been cut at Forza West that got cut that have college offers. They're playing college baseball and were cut from its high school team.
Listen, here's the thing: you may be going to a Class 5 school that doesn't have that depth. Okay, they don't have the turnout, but you should treat it like that, right?
Oh yeah, you should not just because you're
don't
a small.
Don't take it for granted.
Yeah, just because you're a small student, you might be a stud for our small school. Sorry, and you're a student coming in. Definitely don't and you're good. Don't walk in there with your chest all high and mighty, because you might just do something that might change a coach's mind. Definitely come in there with that mentality, not necessarily the chip on the shoulder mentality, but show off the skills, show off the skill set, show off your energy, communicate. I think coaches love to hear kids talking, because it opens up your IQ for the sport too.
Agreed. I agree. We could talk about this for a long time, couldn't we?
Yeah, because it's always going to go back to the other conversations we've had, though. I mean, think about the very first one when we talked about the expectations for our parents. We shouldn't be sending our kids in there unprepared. The roster sizes we talked about a couple weeks ago. We need to start putting our kids in positions to face adversity. That's what high school sports are all about. If you ask me what I did when my daughter was 12, 13, coaching her, I tried to prepare her for high school. Mm-hmm. But when she was 8, 9, and 10, you know what I tried to prepare for? Middle school age group.
Right.
And then high school. And then it's college. And then after that, it's everybody else's job. And a lot of it comes from within. Sure. You have to have the desire to do these things. But at the end of the day, as a coach, my job is to get to the next level at each stage of that whatever that next step is.
Right. At each stage.
Yeah, and so I want to teach kids to prepare for that level. And I think if you make the rosters a little deeper, we have those conversations with kids that may only have one position that they can play. Not everybody can play short, second, and center field. But everybody thinks they should be playing it because those are the most recruited positions, right. Or pitcher catcher in softball. And everybody has its job, and if I look at a kid and he says to me, Coach Mitch, I was a catcher for my summer team all year long. I'm like, you're my best center fielder. I'm putting you in center field. That's what's best for our group.
That happens a lot.
People, I
in
mean,
high school baseball.
we have kids that are playing primary positions for us that are recruited to play different positions in college. The college coaches said, you're going to be my third baseman. You're going to be my second baseman. You're not going to play that shortstop premium position. You're not going to be my center fielder. You're going to a corner outfield. And it's like, man, I've been playing center field my whole life, but you're telling me I'm going to go be a corner outfielder? And you have to swallow that.
Yeah.
We need to make sure that we're starting to prepare those kids like that. And I'm not saying that you need to be skill specific or one position specific. You just have to be open.
Here, and this is what's interesting, and you can see this all the way up to the major leagues. I'm watching the Dodgers and Astros last night. Okay, I was flipping back and forth. Gavin Lux, stud.
He's on fire too. He didn't hit another
Yeah.
grand slam. Did he hit another grand slam last night?
No, but he had he's playing again. Well, Corey Seager's out, right? He is a shortstop, but he's having to play second base because you have Corey Seager. So, and everybody, they were talking about how much more comfortable he looked at the plate since he's moved to the shortstop position when Corey Seager went out, and just the comfort level and whatnot, because it's more familiar, but he's having to play second base because of this. This is the nature of baseball at the next level. What can you do? How do you perform? Where do you go? And you're seeing these guys playing. I mean, I saw during the Cardinal series with the Cubs, Chris Bryant. He's playing in he's playing in right field.
Yeah.
He's a third baseman. He's playing in right field.
He's played left field too this year. I've seen him in both corner outfield positions.
And so don't just get and I think to your point, I think that's a great point you make, Mitch.
You only have a few people that can really do those things at that level. I mean, at the end of the day, you're talking about athletes, right? You're talking about the highest level. I think Edmund's a great example because of the hometown thing here. I think he's played second, short in the outfield this year. And he might have done them multiple times in a game. He might have played.
He's over there giving people water too.
He's not quite the secret weapon that Jose Akendo was. I mean, I don't think anybody will ever play the 9 positions in a game again, but it's for this level. If I see a kid, I had a kid that was a shortstop, but he can hit, and I had a shortstop in front of him. This is freshman baseball. This is recent for me, and so this is personal. And so I had a kid in front of him, and he's a good shortstop. The kid that was playing in front of him, so I put him out in left field. I didn't put him anywhere. He was sitting. And a left field spot come open. I said, anybody play left field? He said, Coach, I'm an outfielder too. I play primarily outfield. And I was like, well, why didn't you tell me that you were a primary outfield? Well, he wanted to play shortstop because it's a premium position. I go, well, why didn't you tell me that you primarily played for your summer team? Because I'd have looked at you maybe here or differently or opportunities, because he can hit.
But there's only one shortstop.
There's a lot of communication issues. But so I put him out there. And, whatever. He's a good left fielder. He made some nice plays for me. Of course, some freshman bonehead plays. But my shortstop had I had some issues behind the dish. So I knew that my shortstop was also a catcher. So I put him behind the dish and I put him at shortstop. Both of them balled out. And I'm like, okay, well, I got a situation on my hands. Because now I have 2 kids that can play some shortstop. But it motivated him to play the position a little differently than it did the first time he tried to prove himself. He talking more, because I explained to him, this is what I need out of my shortstop. And next thing I know I got my shortstop is now DHing, and my shortstop's now playing some first base or catching a little bit, and that kid took over that shortstop role. And he did that as a great teammate. Yeah. He just said, "What I want to get in the game. I'll do whatever it takes." He raised his hands. I wish he'd have told me that early on in the season.
Sure.
But kids, it's always interesting. Kids say, I'm a pitcher first. You're a heck of a first baseman. You're a heck of a center fielder.
Right.
Why are you doing this pitching thing, and that's your primary position? Like, you are awesome in the outfield. Well, my summer team needs me as a pitcher. Well, I don't. I need you as an outfielder. Well, Coach, I want to pitch. And I said, great, go pitch.
Yeah.
But
maybe if I'm in a pinch, I'll throw you in for a couple innings.
Who am I going to play in center field if you're gone?
Yeah.
I'm just using center field as an example. That's not really how it goes. But, I tell these kids all the time, and I'm pretty honest. Everybody will tell you that the one bad thing about me is probably I'm maybe too brutally honest at times. where I probably should tone back some of the brutality of it. I still need to be honest, but I'm to the point where I'm like, no, buddy, you're not good enough to do this. That's me. That's who I am. That's how I'm going to continue to coach. It's all I'm going to be about. But I tell them when I make that move, so I put you into pitching. Who's going to play center field for us? Well, I don't know, coach. Find somebody. I said, okay, when you're on the mound and the ball gets hit to center field and they can't make the plays you make, what are you going to do as a pitcher? You going to stand them up? You going to look at them like, why didn't you make the play? What are you going to do? Oh, I get it.
How many more strikes can you throw? And right,
I got enough arms for us to be competitive. I needed my best defense.
Yeah.
And if you're my best center fielder, I need you to play it, dude.
Hey guys, thank you for joining us today. I mean, we'll be back.
Oh yeah, I love doing this, by the way, and I love us. We can always talk.
We'll be back. We got some more for perspective coming up with Mitch, and we're going to talk baseball. We got playoffs coming up. We'll be back to talk some more about that as well as we finish off with the playoffs. So, thanks for tuning in. Remember, guys, hit that subscribe button, hit the dinger because that's what we do around here. We hit dingers. Because, chicks dig the long ball, right?
Yeah. They're replaying that commercial. Have you seen it lately? They're still playing it. The Mark McGuire, Hold.
Oh, yeah.
Glavin.
So, hey, guys, everybody have a great day in the Lord. All you pitchers, keep throwing strikes. You hitters, hit them where they ain't. And we'll see you next time.